All the tabletop role-playing news. We aim to amuse and we aim to enthuse. And Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG
Hello, and welcome to Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG talk. I am Russ, aka Morris, or Morris, aka Russ, and with me this week is
PJ Coffey from the Southampton Guild of Role Players, also from Homebrew and Hacking, TTRPG Design. Joining us now, we also have a veritable ray of sunshine, who, wherever she goes, she always brings weather with her. It's the one, it's the only, it's
me, Jessica from EM Publishing, and because we're having nice weather in the UK, I made myself a fruity mocktail for the podcast recording.
Yeah,
so
I feel slightly.
Hey, PJ got one too.
I've got my pint of water. I feel.
I'm
envious. I am envious of your beverages.
Long as it's been said, Morris, you are not as fruity as PJ and I.
Clearly not. Oh well. Anyway. We have got some opportunities to talk about this week.
Yes.
So should we do that?
You know what? Yeah. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, should we do that? Okay, then.
Yeah.
Where would you like to start?
Well, before we start, I just want to say I'm going to remember to do it this week because I always mean to do it at the beginning of the show, not at the end.
Yes.
We are streaming live Friday, 2 p.m. UK time, 9 a.m. Eastern time in the US. We're on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. So if you want to join us live, please do. You're more than welcome. Join in the chat. You can ask questions, make comments, and it's all a load of fun. It's like a big party, and some people have fruity drinks, and some people do not.
Yeah, you too can bring a fruity drink.
You can bring a fruity drink if you wish.
Yeah.
Someone could bring me a fruity drink. That would be marvellous.
Well, had I known in advance, I would have.
You have two well-trained dogs. Surely this is a self-solving problem.
I've got two what?
Okay, got two dogs. How about
Yeah.
My innate honesty overcame me. I'm sorry, Russ.
Anyway, yes. So we are recording live. You can join us for the live recording every Friday. But if you prefer to listen to the podcast, that's just fine. Hello, thanks for listening. Let's talk about the news that is of tabletop role-playings and games.
Yes, and let's talk about sage advice.
I'll take some sage advice from you.
Okay. On anything or just D&D?
If we could make it TTRPG related, it would be better for the listeners.
I hear white is best for exorcisms.
Not legal advice then, or medical advice?
No, we don't do that.
Am I thinking of the wrong sort of sage? Probably. Okay. Unless we start talking about, I suppose, D&D sage advice, which has traditionally been the realm of Jeremy Crawford, where he has very patiently answered questions from people on the internet, demanding that he provide precise and detailed answers to what are supposed to be natural language rules.
Mm-hmm. And then people complain about those answers.
Oh, yes, me too. I think he's wrong on many occasions.
So the Sage Advice Compendium is on D&D Beyond, and it is a basically compendium of questions and answers. It's an FAQ, basically. So it's not errata. They've got errata as well. Errata is specifically, this is wrong, replace it with this. This is just sort of clarifications or things that people frequently ask, or things like that. It's been around forever. It originated in Dragon magazine back in the 80s as a literal, people would write in and they'd publish it in the magazine with the answers. So this is kind of what it is now. And as Peter just said, up till now, Jeremy Crawford's been doing it. But of course, Jeremy Crawford is leaving or has left Wizards of the Coast now. So
he's exited.
I don't know who's doing it now. It's a mystery. However, Sage Advice has just been updated for the 2024 rules. Well, somebody's doing it, or maybe Jeremy did it just before he left. Who knows? So you can pop along to D&D Beyond. We will have the link in the show notes, and it's quite long. There's quite a lot of stuff in there. I mean, for example, there's clarification that actions and bonus actions aren't interchangeable, because that comes up often. Some people ask, can you promote a bonus action or use an action to do a bonus action.
I mean, that's no, apparently.
Correct. It is not.
Oh yeah, that would be my understanding as well. Because that's
But the reason I imagine people ask it is because in 4th edition you could.
Yes.
They called them free. Was it free actions or no minor actions? They called them minor actions.
Free actions are things like crying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Weeping in despair, that sort of thing. Yeah. Or giving a 20-minute monologue. That's a free action too.
No.
Especially if you're a villain.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so in 4E you could, with your major action, you could also take a minor action. If you wanted to. You could basically promote a minor action, but you can't do that
in 5e.
But they've like specifically clarified this in response to the fact that people asked this question. Can you do that? Fair
enough.
Things like the stun condition no longer prevents you from moving. Is that change intentional? Which is an odd question. Yes, yes. The answer is yes, it's intentional.
Well, I mean, like, I don't know why you find it an odd question, because it's like that seems like a fairly major difference, and also like
I would think most major changes are probably almost certainly intentional. If you sort of saw some tiny little changes which could be sort of like caused just by a typo or a grammar change, I could see that being, is that intentional? But if it's an actual major change like that, I think it's almost certainly intentional.
Russ, I'm sure I'm not alone in thinking this, but like, as any classic GM will know, it's like, are you sure you want to do that? It's always a valid question.
Yeah,
it is. And the response of yes to that question is also valid.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Oh,
valid, but not without consequences.
Yeah. Also,
exactly.
You can say
you see
like,
where I'm going.
Yeah. Yes, you can certainly try that.
Yeah,
I'm not going to stop you trying it.
Yeah. You can certainly move while stunned. Okay, you got moved while stunned has the now official rules. Okay, good job. I wonder how that's going to play out. Yeah.
My way of doing that as well is like, what's your passive intelligence or wisdom or whatever? And they'll be like, so your character would be aware that doing this would result in this.
Yeah. No, sorry, I didn't mean to derail. It's the pipeline of information between your brain and the player's brain is always like a little bit smaller than you'd like it to be. Often constricted as it is to voice and so forth. It's like trying to see the world through like a drinking straw.
So until we get those neural implants where we can just like give you an info dump straight into your brain.
Oh gosh, no,
very Demolition Man.
Anyway,
I don't want to see inside some people's brains.
Amen.
Or anybody's, quite frankly.
Well, I mean, some people are completely aphantastic, which means that when they close their eyes, all they see is blankness. So you wouldn't have any sort of vision that would appear. Whereas other people can like just see things straight in front of them without even having to close their eyes.
My brain is constantly. I really would like it if I could just like switch it off. It would be amazing. But hey,
such is the world we live in. But anyway, about Sage Advice, what's the news about it?
So other questions. Well, it's been published for 2024. It was the news.
Got it.
But other questions like, if I'm hidden and a creature with blind sight or true sight sees me, am I still hidden? So the answer to that is no.
Yeah, because they got the invisible condition, but I mean that seems pretty obvious. Wait, but is that not hidden from other people?
Well, you see, that's why they've changed it to giving you the invisible condition, because that's a binary thing. You either have it or you don't. Whereas hidden, you could sort of say it's a relative term.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
the answer they gave is no. Being hidden is a game state that gives you the invisible condition. If a creature finds you, you're no longer hidden and lose that condition, as explained in the hide action. So I mean, if one creature finds you, you are no longer hidden.
I guess they could yell out to their mates in a second.
Yeah.
Okay, that seems like quite a significant detail.
It's a simplification. I mean, it is a thing that on ENL gets discussed a lot. People have strong thoughts and feelings about how hide and invisibility interact in 5e.
I mean, I guess that's the way it is rules as written, but the great thing about role-playing games is that your table, if you all agree we're going to play it like this, you can change it.
Yeah.
If your table all strongly believes that actually the hidden rules shouldn't work like that, and you all agree,
I think this is
have
more
at.
sort of if you're doing convention play or you're doing Adventurers League sort of stuff. It's more important to have a agreed
Absolutely.
upon, you know.
Yes.
Yes.
Methodology.
Yes.
Well, I mean, this removes things from the GM's hands. Like, say, like a trivial example would be, say, you had like a three-way meeting, and the player was trying to sneak up on people. Possibly someone who is not an ally of the players, but is not a fan of the person they're talking to, might have the passive perception to spot the player or have the blind sight and so forth. Would they then feel obliged? The rules is written now, or they'd be able to point them out? They'd automatically be pointing them out, saying, "Yes, there is someone over there."
Do you know what the rules is written now? I think even an ally would.
Yes.
If a creature.
Yes.
Does
So
it
technically,
specify
if one of your
creature
own allies
type?
can see you. Yeah. I'm not sure how. I'm not sure how I feel about that either. I mean,
I mean, like I say, there's like a difference in scale. If you're paying for, like, I don't know, an indie adventure on a foldy print at home, 32 pages, I expect ambiguity. I want to house rule it. It's fine.
I
But I'm
find
paying some
clarification
spots
by
for book.
looking. I have found clarification,
Oh, yes.
and I'm going
You
to
look
put it
further
up
down the
on.
road. Yeah.
I'm going to put it up on the screen there. Give me 1 second.
Ooh,
So
we have
here
the
we go.
clarification.
This I looked at the hide action rather than the sage advice, and this is the clarification. I'm sorry, Peter, you're hidden behind the thing. I'll get rid of that.
That's okay.
You stop being hidden immediately after any of the following occurs. You make a sound louder than a whisper. An enemy finds you. You make an attack roll, or you cast a spell with a verbal component. So that is an enemy finds you.
Yeah. So in your example, PJ,
a
that would be
bystander or an
fine.
ally would not count.
Oh, PJ left.
Oh.
Hopefully they will return.
Yeah, hopefully. Right, we've also got things that cause benefits to damage rolls on spells and spells that have multiple rolls, such as Scorching Ray.
Yeah.
So if you have elemental affinity from the Draconic sorcery, you add your charisma modifier to damage rolls. And the question is, do you add your damage? Does you add this modifier to each ray that hits?
I mean, yes.
The answer is elemental affinity benefits 1 damage roll per casting of a spell, even if the spell allows more than 1 roll.
Oh, okay.
So a sorcerer with elemental affinity as their charisma modifier to only 1 of the rays of a Scorching Ray.
Do they have to decide which ray that is before it hits, or do you decide after and see? Because if you have spells where you roll for the damage, where you
I do not know. That would depend on how elemental affinity reads, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose this is specifically talking about elemental affinity, but I was thinking of other spells that have multiple targets or things.
Definite downgrade for elemental affinity. I would, of course, leap to Agonizing Blast as my basis for comparison, where you do add your charisma bonus to every single damage roll. Or at least you used to. I don't know, 2024 rule set. I'll have to have a look at the SRD, see what it says.
Yeah. We've got a clarification on how bark skin works with shields, cover, and other AC modifiers. We've got something about savage attacker feat applying to the rogue's sneak attack or the paladin's divine smite.
What are they doing to sneak attack? That's relevant to me.
So savage attacker applies only to rolls of the weapons damage dice, not to extra damage that a feature like sneak attack or divine smite might grant.
Okay.
Wow, that's a hell of a downgrade.
Yeah.
I mean, sneak attack's already doing so much damage, I guess.
Savage attacker specifically lets you reroll, I think it was 1s and 2s. So if that's for all the dice in the sneak attack and all the dice in the smite, that is quite cool and makes it pretty much worth taking. If it's like, well, I've rolled a 1 or 2 on a D8 or a D10 or something, I can re-roll it. It's a lot less impressive. And for a full feat, which is replacing an ASI, I'm like, not so keen. Anyway.
Yeah. But I'm playing a rogue in our Thursday night game. And
How fun.
So much damage.
Yeah.
Much damage. And I've just gotten a shadow blade, which allows me to teleport up to 10 feet and attack with advantage. Which basically is 3 sneak attacks all round. Thank you.
Hey.
We've just had a new player join our Eberron, my long-running Eberron campaign, and they're playing a rogue. And it makes me wistful looking across the table, being like, oh, I like playing rogues. Wish I was playing a rogue. But I play rogues a lot, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the 4th edition stealth rules, as opposed to the 5th edition, just for a point of comparison. In the 4E rules compendium, it's long. It's like an entire page, detailed. I don't want to go through it, but really, I think it's basically probably a lot clearer, but it is more complex. It's like covering every sort of use
case and contingency. Yeah. But
it is definitely clearer, I think. So
yeah.
I mean, I think people will be arguing about 5e stealth forever.
Yeah.
And then you look at the Shadow Dark stealth rules, which I can't remember offhand, but they're very simple and just work.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's robust, but I'm sure you can find an edge case there somewhere. But it's a lot less of a complicated game, and sometimes you want the complications.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, do we have any other news, or was that it for this week?
That's it for the week. Yeah. 7 minutes. We've lots of news. Lots of news. As we work our way through them, let's switch and swap a little bit, because I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 things there. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You've got about the same number on there as well, Peter. So do you want to do one of your ones there?
Well, I thought it might be fun to let Jess have a go.
Do you want to do it, Jess?
As well.
Sure. I'll bring news of Baldur's Gate, because that's a thing that I like to do. One is a bit that Russ brought to the table as well. And it's that Baldur's Gate DLC would have been boring, is the clickbait headline. Which I don't necessarily disagree with if you read past the clickbait headline. And this clickbait headline came with this interview for the Larian CEO, who was talking about the Baldur's Gate 3 life cycle and about how game development passion works. And so because it's such a popular game, everyone's like, why don't you do DLC and make loads of more money? But in summary, he's kind of saying because it wouldn't be interesting, because when people finish the game, you're so overpowered, and it's just, DLC afterwards doesn't keep you coming back and draws you in and things like that. And also, if you think about all the updates, like recently they launched the patch 8 update for Baldur's Gate 3, and that was massive, and it was all for free. And historically, a lot of those things would have been DLC, like extra subclasses, things like that would normally be on DLC, but they've just given it to us. But he was talking about how game design needs to be fun for both players and developers.
Yes.
And traditional DLC would not have been exciting for the developers, so that's why they chose not to do it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the man's wearing looks like LARP armor there, doesn't it?
Yes.
There we go. This is what he said.
Full quote, yeah. Do you want to read it out?
Sven Vink, the Larian CEO. And he says, DLC's boring is the honest answer. We tried to be in the DLC business, talked about that with BG3. There's just no passion. I mean, happy player, happy business, but you also need a happy developer for a happy player. What we're doing now makes developers way more happy. We heard it's what we were supposed to do, huge game, huge hit, and you're going to make DLC this and DLC that and DLC there. The money's going to pile up. You think, we'll just make some DLCs, but then the it's cut off there. What's the rest of the quote?
In the comment below.
And then the I can't find it.
Sometimes I think you realise what we're doing.
And then you realise, what are we doing? There we go. Okay.
And at the moment,
So-
right?
Yeah. So the answer to that is basically developers don't like doing it. Is what you
Fair
said.
enough.
Because it feels like the cash grab that it is, I think, a lot of the time as well.
Mm.
And I'm sure they could have had loads of stuff. They could have made loads of cool hats for your character to wear. And I'd probably have bought some, because who doesn't love a cool hat, Russ?
Mm.
It's all Russ
Wow.
wanted when we played Baldur's Gate. It's
True.
the first
I
thing he
did
talked
want a
about.
hat and I didn't find one.
I gave
Well,
you a
an
hat
hat.
from the very
Yes.
beginning.
Yeah, but it wasn't a pointy hat.
I know, because we
Wait,
had to look for it.
We should have another go at Baldur's Gate sometime. That was fun.
That save I did, I think, is died
But
because no,
we-
it hasn't.
we
It's
all
still
died.
there.
We
We all died, but we can resurrect. I am happy to play any time. Anyway, but yeah, so that was kind of the big Baldur's Gate news. Related to that as well, Larian is hiring Larian Studios in there, and I noticed it because it's in their UK office, and it's tangentially related to RPGs because they are hiring story development leads. So these are they have two similar roles. There's a story development lead and another one based in the story team, which I can't remember because I don't have it in front of me. But pretty much this job is all driving world building and storytelling initiatives. So you're the team responsible for all the narrative content, so making sure the arcs are consistent, and you manage editors and writers and things like that. So there was a lot of overlap with RPG writers, because if you've edited or written RPGs, a lot of these skills and the things they're doing overlap. So I thought it was interesting. So if you've worked in story development, narrative direction, or creative leadership, that job is available on the Larian. If you go to larian.com and they have a career section, you can find it there. And I just thought that was interesting, and maybe if people are into their role-playing games, that could be an interesting overlap.
Yeah.
Well, that would be people listening to this podcast. If you're not into role-playing games and you're listening to this podcast, welcome. I don't understand it, but we're glad to have you here anyway.
Yes, absolutely. But that is my Baldur's Gate 3 news of the week.
Someone has asked, will Morris apply to Larian Studios? Oh, lol. That was just play the game in the chat. The answer to your question is, of course, no.
I was about to say, you're busy. I've got things for you to do. You have several jobs you do here. You can't do anything else.
I have a company to run. It's annoying. I like my job. I do enjoy my job. I wouldn't want to do something else.
Marvelous. Well,
Except for be an astronaut. That's the one thing I would do.
Well,
Really?
I'm going Taylor Swift, but there we go. So let me smoothly segue from talking about game design and so forth and RPG adventure design to talking about Heart of Darkness.
Heart of
Darkness.
Yes, it's an upcoming Kickstarter, which I thought was quite interesting. I thought I'd bring it to the attention of people because of this interest that it evoked within me. I mean, it's a D&D adventure campaign, and those are not uncommon. No offense. It's like, but I see a lot of these on Kickstarter. And this one's actually started. How excited. The things that caught my attention about it was the way it's explained its layout of what's going on about the adventure, like having pronunciation guides, making sure that you've got the text tables and illustrations in the right place at the right time. It's running a sandbox, but if you are to go to a location, it's saying that all the information you'll need will be on the page that you go to, rather than having to flip back and forth throughout the book.
Nice.
And that looked really good. It's like got different color schemes, and they've really thought about how to make this more accessible and a way to get into it. It's Polish designer Victor Neupink Sitch, I think it is. But yeah, it looked like a really good way to. I don't really know too much about the actual story, but the way you would run the game, the ease of use is, I think, quite exciting, and I think that's one of the research interests of mine, like one of the focuses for TTRPGs going into the future, which is the easier it is to use, the better it is, because I've run some older adventures and I did not enjoy my experience.
The layout is so important. So
100%.
important. Yeah, and it's a skill as well. It's really hard to do. I mean, not
Yeah,
just not just from a technical point of view, just manipulating the software and making it look good, but having the eye to do that and understand how a page flows and where the eye goes on the page and how white space works and all this sort of stuff is really, it's difficult stuff.
Yeah, having the tables and the flowcharts in place, strategic use of box text, because if you have box text and it's not clear that it's box text, which I know sounds wildly stupid of me to say, but I have come across adventures where there's a read aloud section and then it goes into spoilers.
Yeah.
Which is...
You don't want to get that wrong when you've got it in front of you and you're... Yeah.
It's an easy mistake to make, and it can ruin your experience and make you just feel awful as a GM. Whereas, having these things to prop up your skills is nice and good, and I think it's like something that we as designers should be aiming for. Yeah. And certainly, I'm a lot more inclined to back this Kickstarter than I would any other 5e adventure, simply because of the evident thought that they put into making it a good idea to run.
Francita in the chat says layout is fun work but hard work. Francita is our art and layout manager.
Yes.
And does amazing work. And could probably tell you just how hard it really is. And it's not something you can just start doing and know how to do. You got to learn how to do it.
It is a skill.
It is a skill. Yeah. I'm not great at it at all. I mean, no. I think I've got an eye for it, and I can look at layout and I can say that looks good or that doesn't, or the white space is off on that, or that's too close. That sort of thing. I can look at it and spot problems of layout. What I can't do is do the layout in the first place.
Yeah,
I can also do that, but I don't know how to fix the problem as well.
Yeah.
So, and that's where the skill comes in. Because I think it's easy almost with anything to look at something and say it wasn't good. Like, how many people go to watch a film or read a book and be like, I didn't like this because it wasn't well made or whatever. But then knowing how to make it is a whole different thing.
Yeah, I think people know what they like, what's pleasing to their eye.
Yeah.
Sometimes they can identify why that is, and sometimes they can't. But it's more of a technical thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's all part of the nature of criticism within TTRPGs. Not criticism as in, I didn't like that was rubbish, but more as in, how can we make it better? Like a sort of almost like literary criticism, but like finding ways. What does it mean, and how can we better do it? And like movie criticism, talk about cinematography and so forth. So I welcome this as evidence of the evolution of TTRPGs as an art form. That's why it caught my eye. So
that sounds interesting. Thanks for sharing that. So it's Heart of Darkness, and that will be on. Do you say Kickstarter? That is.
It's actually on Kickstarter and is
live as we speak.
Yeah, £224 of a £1,588. What's that? So that's it's I don't know what a PLN is.
PLN,
but they're going for 8,000. They're going for 8,000 PLN.
No, I don't know what the currency is. Yeah,
like last I heard, it was the zloty, but I'm very out of date. Yeah, so there we go.
Yeah. Oh, so just play the game posted in the chat. Russ Morris, Britain's first astronaut, bringing tabletop role-playing games to a whole new world. I hate to break it to you, we've had lots of Britain's had lots of astronauts.
Let's not have Tim Peake coming around saying
you want Tim Peake getting across with you, yeah. Right, okay. I think it's my turn. Shall I do a news item?
Yeah.
Okay, which one should I do? I think let's talk a little bit about news outlets. More specifically,
good
news outlets. So we've got some bad news broke yesterday. Polygon has just been hit by a mass wave of layoffs. Now this is because it's been sold to the Relaunched group, which is a group that owns outlets like Game Rant, Comic Resources, and a whole bunch of others. A whole load of different sites. They tend to require these sites, and then often it's followed by a big round of layoffs.
They fire all the journalists that are writing the content that people are going to the sites for, and then they're like so surprised that it's like viewing figures dropped off. Who could have thought that continuing with the content creators would make it worse?
Yeah. So anyway. Polygon was acquired by the Valnet Group, and immediately we have a big wave of layoffs. Various people from Polygon, staff members from Polygon, posting on social media that they've lost their jobs and they're looking for work. From our point of view, the TTRPG point of view, obviously that's only a tiny part of what Polygon did. Polygon obviously covered like pop culture and video games and all sorts of stuff. It's a fairly big outlet. The TTRPG editor, senior editor, was Charlie Hall. And I think you will have seen articles by Charlie Hall over the years. Almost definitely have done. Who has reported, I am no longer with Polygon, my home for nearly 13 years. I am proud of what my colleagues and I accomplished over that period. Also, I'm especially proud of the role the Vox Media Union and Writers Guild of America played in it all. Organised now, I am immediately available for hire.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so that's a sad day for, I think, obviously it's TTRPG coverage is going to go. It's going to be gone now.
Yeah, that's an interesting statement. I mean, I don't know anything about it because I've seen that people are upset, but it sounds to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what Charlie is saying there is they were sold off because they were unionized. And this is like happened.
I don't think that's what he said. No,
he did mention he was proud of the union.
He's one of the founding members of the Vox Media Union. That's why he's proud of building it.
Vox Media being the group that owns Polygon, amongst others, or that used to own Polygon before they told it off to Valnet. Is that correct? Right. I was just trying to make sense of what he was saying, sort of what they were saying from
I don't think that's why they were
organised now. Oh, okay.
I think the Valnet Group just, tends to require these properties and
asset strip them and
what's the word? Enshittification is the word, isn't it?
Technical term. The doctoral process, as we like to bowdlerize it for our American listeners, is where a company draws you in and then slowly makes the conditions worse until it makes it worse for the sellers, and then it starts to make it worse for the buyers, the readers, and so forth. So this may be a speed run of such a process, or it may just be your standard venture capitalists doing venture capitalist things. Although how they're hoping to profit from just firing everyone, I don't know. They've just bought the place.
Well, see, this happened a lot over the last year or two. Look at this. This is the casualty list over the last couple of years. Polygon, IO9, Dicebreaker, comicbook.com, Gizmodo.
Yeah.
All of which were sold to other larger organizations. Except I'm not sure that I think comic book, I'm not sure where the comicbook.com was, but all of them have basically shuttered their tabletop gaming coverage. Dicebreaker went away pretty much completely. It just stopped last year. IO9 and Gizmodo, that was back 2023, I think. Lynn Kodega worked there. That shutters the tabletop gaming coverage.
Yeah, Lynn got, I think, Lynn left after having broken the whole OGL debacle, being there first and doing some of the best reporting. Arguably at the height of their professional career, and then gets.
I don't think they broke it. I think that was the Roll for Combat podcast broke it. Definitely came in quickly and did a lot of very, very good work.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
But I mean, give credit where it's due. Roll for Combat did great that one.
Yes.
And comicbook.com, of course, used to cover D&D and stuff like that a lot. And Christian Hoffer. Christian Hoffer used to work at Comic Book. Now works for us over at Emerald, which is nice.
Yeah, like the tabletop outlets. Really, tabletop role-playing game outlets are really shrinking. I mean, obviously there's Ian World, which we listeners are aware of, otherwise better known as Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG news.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Rascal, which I have a subscription to because that's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Bell of Lost Souls.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, most of these are. Some of these are sort of like a lot bigger than, say, a niche site that just covers TTRPG news, like the Enrolled is. But I did make a list when Dicebreaker closed, which was last year, of the ones that I could think of that kind of covered RPG still. And now looking at that list, half of them are gone now. So we had Enrolled that was here, us, RPGnews.com, which is also operated by us. And we've got Bell of Lost Souls. Does a lot of tabletop gaming coverage. ICV2 kind of industry level coverage.
Okay, yeah. I hear what you're saying. Like, I wouldn't go there to find out about the latest releases, but if you're interested in industry figures, which
they report on releases basically a year after everyone else hears about it, because they report on it just before it goes into retail, whereas we report on it when they're announced originally.
Yeah.
We sometimes get people ask us, why haven't you reported on this thing that ICV2 is reporting on? I said, well, we did a year ago when it was news.
Yeah. Now it's more olds.
yeah. And then we got Rascal, which was set up by Lynn Kodega and some other journalists, which is a great site, wonderful site.
I think Lynn has since left, if I recall correctly.
Still, well, not left, but I think has gotten a job, I believe, in Hollywood as a screenwriter or something like that. I'm not sure exactly, and therefore obviously has to,
prioritize the focus. Definitely.
Yeah. But there's a good team there at Rascal.
Yeah. I have no complaints.
Yeah. We've also got tabletop gaming news. We've got Chisara Guild, Bleeding Cool. I don't know if Bleeding Cool still covers TTRPGs.
Bleeding Cool?
Yeah, that's kind of movies more than, and pop culture. I don't know how much. I'm just looking at it now. So we've got Comic Book Industry Remembers, Black Mirror Comic, The Gilded Age Season 3, previews of Batman comics, American Horror Story 3, Grand Theft Auto 6. So it's there's no gaming.
There is some. If you Google RPGs, it will tell you that Tarriffs are bad. It will let you know about the Secret Doors contest that we covered every week. That's for the Mega Dungeon. Urban Shadow's getting a second edition. Then Monty Python has a new RPG. This is, and Daggerheart apparently is getting a new RPG, and things like the Dragonbane Quickstart. So yes, they do RPG news. I would struggle to describe them as being hugely current. Well,
I think that's like ICV2 in that it reports when stuff's going into retail and it hits the distributor catalogs rather than when something's announced in development, hits Kickstarter, that whole year or two beforehand that we cover.
Well, it does make it even harder for indie games and publishers to stand out. I recall that there was a lot of questions. There was an article not too long ago where people were like, indie publishers should just contact these outlets to try and stand out. I'm like, well, what?
R2RPG in the chat says, okay, have you talked anything about Project Siggy? I assume that means Sigil Resurrection. No, I'm not aware of any Project Sigil Resurrection.
The last news we did is that they announced that they weren't doing any further development.
Yeah, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Not a couple of years ago.
Tarriffs have made it feel like years, but
if there's breaking news that it's been resurrected, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah. Well, we have had Easter since, so you know. These sites disappearing. Like tabletop gaming, I guess, isn't a priority for any of these because, like, video games and movies and comic books are much, much bigger. Yeah,
much, much bigger. Yeah. So Ardu says yes, but yesterday there were news on D&D Beyond. So I don't know. Can't comment. I don't know it. So I don't want to say. I like tabletop gaming news. It's hard to make money out of that.
Yes.
I guess. That the audience is very, very, very niche. And even, you know, when you talk about
Becoming less
tabletop,
so.
yeah, I mean, if you talk tabletop RPGs are even a tiny, tiny thing compared to, you know, the board gaming industry. So,
Oh yeah.
the tabletop gaming industry as a whole.
Yeah, it's a niche industry. It's hard to make money on a news site, and especially if you're not one to do clickbaity titles.
Yes, yeah. I think the money these days is in rage bait YouTube videos.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do, then you know, go for it.
D&D's gone woke.
I won't be watching it, but you know, go for it. But that's where the money and the traffic is these days.
Yes.
But hey.
There we go. Hopefully, all the people that lost their jobs can find work elsewhere. I hope.
I hope so. Yeah. I mean, there's quite a lot of them, it seems. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I reached out to Charlie Hall to you know, say sorry to hear it, and if there's anything we can do to help, to reach out, and he sent me a nice email saying thank you, and he'll certainly reach out at some point. But you know, it is sad when these things happen.
Yeah.
I just find it amazing that we've been around for 26 years now.
Yeah.
Putting on TTRPG news.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thriving. Good job.
Yeah.
I was going to say, PJ, do you have some good news for us or some nice news just to balance out the tone?
I mean, no pressure or anything like that. Yeah, just let us enjoy.
Can you fix the world, please, PJ?
Or
tell us about an exciting RPG.
Well, an RPG that I am moderately excited about, largely due to the person creating it, is Cosmic Dark, which is released by Graham Walmsley. Graham Walmsley wrote a book called Play and Safe, which I quite enjoyed. It's like an advice on how to roleplay harder in TTRPGs. And Graham also created Cthulhu Dark, which is an extremely lightweight, sort of lighter even than Gumshoe style TTRPG, where D6 dice pool, I believe, and if you're a 6, you're likely to see more of the horrors within. Anyway, it's coming up on Kickstarter, so I imagine there's going to be some weird space horror. Don't know too much about it. It's not officially come out, but it's got a fair few followers, 879 people. So I imagine that will be moderately large. Yeah. It looks a bit science fiction-y. Could be exciting, yeah.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing like space horror. I do like a bit of space horror.
Yeah, a bit of aliens, Mothership, all very good for that sort of thing. Yeah.
All right, what else we got in the news? Oh, Tarriffs. Do you want to do Tarriffs very quickly?
Yes, why not?
Yeah,
that's life in the news.
There's not a lot, fortunately. There haven't been any sort of brand new big ones announced or anything, thank goodness.
Great. Yeah.
But do you remember Stonemaier Games were suing the US president?
Yeah.
Yes. US President Donald Trump was being sued by.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are doing lawsuits, but yes.
Yeah, so they were joining a larger lawsuit being run by the Pacific Legal Foundation. And over on ICV2, there's a little bit more information about just sort of the rationale and background of this lawsuit. So it's quite technical. The rationale for the original rationale for the application of these tariffs was that authority was granted by something called the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, which says that under a national emergency declaration, the president may take steps to deal with any unusual and extraordinary threat to national security, foreign policy, or the economy. The statute apparently does not mention tariffs, which is traditionally an authority exclusively granted to Congress by the Constitution. And the statute has never been used for this in the past. So basically, the lawsuit is saying that the US president does not have the power to put these tariffs in place.
Mhm.
Yes, yeah. It's an overreach on the part of the executive branch, which is like just basically not supposed to do that sort of thing. You're supposed to have like the executive, I think it's Congress and the judiciary are all supposed to be checks and balances on each other to make sure that no one part can have more power than any other. The fact that I know this for a country that I do not live in, right, is just
I've seen the
state of
way.
how online I am. Well, me too. So there we go. Like that was 196 hours of my life happily spent. Yeah.
So this lawsuit, they're seeking refunds for tariffs that that the plaintiffs, which includes Stonemaier Games, have paid, and to reassert the limit on the presidential authority.
Yeah. As I said, there's no actual physical, military, or political reason other than they felt like it to have these tariffs in place. So,
in
on
fairness,
them, they can
I believe the president's ego might have been hurt, and it hurt his feelings.
Okay, I think we're getting a little bit too far into politics here.
That's true. Fair enough. But anyway, that lawsuit is happening.
The politics is coming for the TCRPGs. Like I have better things to do than talk about that guy, right? It's like, keep your politics out of my role-playing games. It's the sort of thing that I've had thrown at me for ages. So how about you try it? You keep, we won't talk about your stupid politics if you can just let us, I don't know, go about selling games and so forth. Anyway, sorry.
Right. Other things in the news.
Can I do a segue?
Yes.
Because from one set of boneheaded decisions to another, Worldcon has, which is the especially the World Science Fiction Convention, have done an explanation of why they use large language models to vet applicants.
Okay.
To say that this has been received badly would be employing British understatement at just peak levels here, because it turns out that the people whose work has been taken without their permission, and whilst it is under their copyright and used to train large language models, are not in fact big fans of large language models. And then to hear that, there's just so many people, like we haven't been able to do it all. It's like you can either do due diligence and research everyone, or you cannot. I didn't think you'd include that slide there, Russ. The slide that Russ has put up for those listening at home, because we've not had a lot of art this time around, but it's from a blue scribe read by Eddie Bangs, and it has a picture of Dr. Manhattan from the Watchmen comics.
Sitting on Mars, on a rock on Mars.
Sitting on Mars, on rock on Mars, and the caption is, it's 2023, a dramatic disaster surrounds Worldcon. It's 2024, a dramatic disaster surrounds Worldcon. It's 2025, a dramatic disaster surrounds Worldcon. Yeah.
Well, so just to clarify this news, because this is my first time hearing it. So Worldcon was using large language learning model, like an AI type thing, to vet applicants. Vet applicants for what? What were their applications for? Just because I'm not too familiar.
It's for the various awards that they're handing out and so forth.
Wow.
And so forth. Yeah. It's
panelist applicants
and panelists as well.
Yeah. So they had about 1,300 panelist applicants for Seattle Worldcon 2025, they have to vet these applicants to make sure that you're not getting someone standing in front of a crowd of 500 people and saying things that are
objectionable.
A problem. But
or that they have some sort of expertise.
Yeah. So they use a script that uses ChatGPT to vet these applicants.
Okay.
Apparently nobody in Seattle has heard of Perl, I'm told, which is to my understanding a computer language which isn't artificially intelligent, but which is quite good at sorting through strings and so forth, like sets of text. I don't know. But one person commenting on it did point out that when ChatGPT wrote their bio, it actually attributed a second book to them, which they were surprised to learn that they had written. But actually, it turned out it wasn't a confected book that had been confabulated into existence by ChatGPT. It was a real book that had been written by a person of colour, a woman of colour, and it had been attributed to her, a white lady. So, like, with 1,300 incidents of this, and it's like, even the people who are selling it are like, well, you always have to check the work afterwards. And I'm like, well, maybe you should just do the work in the first place, because that sounds like a lot less effort and you're less likely to accidentally produce a mistake. But for me, making mistakes is a bigger issue than I think it's a big issue. It would be a big issue for me sending out false information to the world. I don't like it.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. So as I say, the wrong crowd to do this with, and putting out statements about it seems to have only added oil to the flames.
What was the statement that Worldcon?
It's quite
said?
lengthy.
Yeah,
and it is linked.
Oh, it's a long letter.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you got a
Statement
link.
from Worldcon.
Yeah,
It's
we'll
in
put
the
link in the
it's
show
in the
notes. So
notes,
people want to read
Jess.
it, they can.
We'll put it in the show notes. Okay.
Dispatches from yesterday tomorrow. There have since been several rebuttals, but I'm afraid I missed the deadline of yesterday for putting these in. So yeah. Anyway, it's not strictly TTRPG, but I thought it was relative to the geek fandom.
It is strictly TTRPG.
Oh boy, let's.
Okay. Well, virtually strictly TTRPG.
Okay.
Strictly virtually T.
A VTT.
VTTRPG.
It's very tabletop.
Is this a new like BBC program, Strictly Come Role Playing, where you have celebrities attempt to role play and then a panel of judges will say snarky things about them?
It is not. It is
Okay.
What it is the the public beta for Roll20 and Demiplane's rules compendium integration.
Yes, massive. Yes.
Yeah. So Roll20 purchased Demiplane in June last year. And Demiplane is essentially D&D Beyond, but for games that aren't D&D.
Yes.
So it's got things like Pathfinder, Vampire, Marvel Multiverse, Alien, and stuff like that on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of free league stuff.
A lot of free league stuff. Yeah. It launched in 2019. It has staff on it like D&D Beyond co-creator Adam Bradford joined the team in 2021 after D&D Beyond was sold to Wizards of the Coast for $146 million. So Demiplane currently has 14 games on it. Only 6 of them are currently in this Roll20 integration. So the 6 that are the Alien RPG,
Yes,
Candela Obscura, Cyberpunk Red, Marvel Multiverse role-playing game,
okay,
Pathfinder 2e,
okay,
and Vampire the Masquerade 5e.
Right.
That's a good variety of different systems.
Yeah,
I mean,
different things there.
If you live in Seattle, sure. Yeah, that's quite a okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, wow.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Roll20 is the biggest VTT out there, virtual tabletop out there, by far. It's one of the oldest.
Yeah.
It launched like years ago with a Kickstarter, which made something like 40 grand or something. Which isn't really an awful lot of money when you look at the size they are now.
Yeah, but it was big money back in those days, Kickstarter.
Yeah, but they were
those days. It was a lot of money.
Yeah, but they grew astronomically very quickly. They did really well. I think one of the things that does create a slight problem that Roll20 is an old platform though, and I think it can.
There's a lot of legacy code. And that's a very frequent complaint about it. That when I say legacy code, I mean there's like stuff that people have. I'm not a computer programmer. I just listen to them a lot when they're complaining about stuff because it's pretty interesting to me. And essentially, like they do things like they put patches in and so forth that they're like, I'll fix this later, and then 10 years have gone by, they've never got back to it, and now it's load bearing for so much infrastructure.
Yeah, I mean, Roll20. It's linked to D&D Beyond as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, not. I don't think you mean D&D Beyond. Maybe you mean One Bookshelf.
No, D&D Beyond.
No,
like
sorry,
a D&D Beyond character sheet can integrate with Roll20, can't it?
Roll20, you can get the Beyond 20 extension,
Yeah.
which will let you use stuff from D&D Beyond on there, which is very good.
Yeah.
Demiplane, I think, through Roll20, who also own One Bookshelf. What I saw, I don't know if that's included in the link. They're talking about having it so that you can have stuff from Dungeons Master's Guild and Drive Through RPG, and then if you've got that, then you'll also have the corresponding Demiplane material. I'm not 100% on that, whether that's verified. I'm not really interested because they're not really any games that I want to play. Or games that I wouldn't play elsewhere.
It's interesting though, looking at their position in the market now, though. So I've got this slide up there. We've got Roll20 there, and the various platforms that it's acquired over the last few years.
Yeah.
So obviously, it's acquired Drive Through RPG, which includes the Dungeon Masters Guild. It's just acquired Demiplane there.
Yeah.
A few years ago, it acquired Dungeon Scroll, which is a really cool platform which allows you to design, quickly draw dungeons for VTTs and stuff just really quickly on the fly. And they're all now integrated with Roll20.
Yeah.
Just creating this big kind of one-stop shop type thing, which I was kind of thinking, that's kind of what Wizard of the Coast is doing with D&D Beyond, where they've got D&D Beyond integrated with their maps tool, and they've got a marketplace, and this is exactly what Roll20's got. And now I think we've basically got these two big entities now. They're the two main ones, Roll20 and Wizard of the Coast, each of which have created an ecosystem of their own. Big ecosystem of their own in a walled garden, which is kind of gate kept. You need to you can't get on Demiplane without invitation. You can't get on D&D Beyond without invitation. So they're kind of gate kept. And I don't know how I feel about this. It's like so much. It's like that all that stuff we were just talking about the news outlets getting acquired, all getting acquired and consolidating into one big organization. And
it makes it a single point of weakness, as we saw with Twitter. If a billionaire decides that they want people to think they're good at games, or they want to win a popularity contest, they could just buy it, and there's not a lot you can do.
Indeed, they're just moving to monopoly. Well, by definition, it's a duopoly because we've got Wizard of the Coast and Roll20. They're two separate ecosystems. I
thought tabletop Joker on the board game and actually the thing.
Yeah. I mean, certainly in the UK, you're considered to have monopoly-like power if you have 1/8 of the market. So
Yeah, but then you could have eight different companies with monopoly in the same market.
Yeah, which doesn't make a lot of sense to you. But that's small enough that you can easily form a cartel. And it is a problem. It's it's the sort of the opposite of free.
Well, it's not like Roll20 and Wizard of the Coast aren't linked, is it?
I mean, Dungeon Masters Guild.
The D&D
Roll20 sells official D&D stuff, D&D Adventures and D&D source books. D&D Beyond, as we just said, is linked to Roll20 via that extension. So it's not like they're completely siloed apart from each other. They definitely
and these a lot of these companies are all based geographically relatively similar places. I mean, sure, you got Free League, but the other places, it's well, do you live on the west coast of America? No? Well, tough. It's it's certainly a thing. It's I feel that lends itself to quite a lot of groupthink, and sort of a self-limiting talent pool.
Yeah, I don't know where Roll20 is based actually. I've got no idea.
I was thinking of the games companies, but
I'm just trying to have a look on Wikipedia to see if it says, but it's not clear there. I don't know where they're based. I mean,
I mean, certainly one of the things I'm noting is like Vampire, because Vampire the Masquerade has, not been on most people's radar for quite some time. Like, it's always got diehard loyalists, and absolutely fair play. Like, there's a lot of fun to be had in the World of Darkness, but hasn't felt hugely relevant. So why this is on the thing? Did you? And Chaosium was conspicuous by absence. No Call of Cthulhu.
Not in that list of 6. I don't know if they're in the list of 14 that are actually on Demiplane.
Yeah. I'm sure they must be on Demiplane. Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea. Let me have a quick look at what's on Demiplane then. Demiplane.com as I furiously type into my computer live on the games. Let's have a look. View all games.
So we're tuned in to watch it live for. 100%.
Okay, here's the full list.
Yeah.
I mean, it's big names basically. Pathfinder, Marvel Multiverse, Cyberpunk Red, Fallout RPG, Vampire the Masquerade, Starfinder 2E, Daggerheart, Cosmere RPG, Alien RPG, Candela Obscura, Avatar Legends, Hunter the Reckoning, Mutant Year Zero, and it's got like D&D 5th edition, but I think like the SRD version of it, not the official version of it.
Yeah. So, like, that's multiple companies are carrying these multiple products from the same companies. Pathfinder and Starfinder are from the same company.
Yep, as are Daggerheart and Candela Obscura.
Yeah, that's 2 from what's it, Darrington Press. So it's like it's 14 games but less companies. So I don't know. Like, I'm sure there's advantages. It's their business; they can run it how they like. But this.
Then you go and look at D&D Beyond. I mean, they're kind of doing the same thing, but just keeping it within the D&D sphere. So they're inviting on like the $1 million Kickstarter guys, or the people that have done that.
They got Cobble Press on board with putting the Tomb of Beasts on because why would you want to kill that? I mean, that's a significant peace offering right there because, like, Tales of the Valiant is forging ahead. We've also seen Cobble Press diversifying into Tales of the Riverbank. Thank you very much, Grant.
Roll20 headquartered in Las Vegas. There we go. I don't know how I feel about all this. I kind of feel like, I mean, there's a lot of VTTs out there. But not with the kind of empire building scope that Roll20 now has. I mean, Roll20 acquiring Drive-Thru RPG was a big thing. So it's when you get a company that has, and this is my thing about D&D Beyond, when you get a company that has the marketplace, the sort of mandatory tool, and the VTT, that's, monopoly is the wrong word. It's just like, it's a complete control of the hobby.
Integration.
Yeah.
Like, when you control it's like United Healthcare, which is a medical insurer in the US. Not wishing to comment particularly, but just that is one that springs to mind, where they provide the hospitals, the insurance, they've got the pharmacies. They decide which medications are permitted to be sold to the pharmacies and which medications to buy. It's like, they've got control over the whole process in a similar fashion to SpaceX. Like, they've got control over.
Too much centralization for my tastes. It's
well, it prevents competition, which, for the purposes of profit maximization, is a good thing.
Yeah, but it gives you so much gatekeeping power.
That's from the point of view of profit maximization, that is a good thing.
Oh yes, of course, but it's not good for the hobby.
From the point of view of I mean that, and this is what I talk about. This is why, like, when we talk about things like 1/8 of the market having monopoly power, because it distorts the market. Like, you're not like a total monopoly, but you have monopolistic power, and you have undue effects. Like, when Hasbro says we're going to raise the price of books, everyone else says, "Oh, thank goodness," because the artificially low price of 5th edition books has kept a de facto cap on what everyone else can sell their books for, with exceptions of mavericks like Monty Cook Games, who
It's just we're going to do what we want. Yeah,
we gotta do what we want, and people will pay what they like. And there haven't many detractors, which I'm sure I don't need to tell you about, Russ. I'm sure if you were, I'm sure you have many examples of Monty Cook game detractors complaining about how pricey Monty Cook games are.
Yeah. I was involved in a conversation recently about the pricing of PDFs and people wondering why PDFs are priced sort of close to the physical book. And I was looking at that and I was thinking, out of the costs incurred in making, say, a big full color 300-page role-playing game book, the actual physical printing of it is one of the smaller ones.
Yep.
Like you're going to spend I mean, like on Level Up, we spent like for $100,000 or something on development, art, and on making the thing, and what 15 grand on printing it. You know, it's like the bit that people place the value on, and they say, why is a PDF worth almost as much as a physical book? That's because the physical book doesn't actually have that much added value in terms of what it costs you to make. Like,
but it's a tangible cost they can see. They understand there's a physical thing I know cost it. But also, not all RPG publishers pay artists and writers and editors at all or fairly. So
yes, but
not
that's partly because they're forced to, because they can't sell the product at the value that the product is worth. So if you're in this situation where you've made a 300-page book, but people are saying we'll only pay $15 for it, that is why all these people aren't getting paid enough, isn't it? Yeah. Because people aren't paying the value of the product. What you're actually doing really is selling it for less than it costs you to make it, unless you exploit people.
I mean, price points are pegged very much 20, maybe 30 years in the past. Like, your red box D&D costs so much, and but it might be quite an interesting article to look at, prices compared to inflation, because inflation's kind of gone up.
Has it?
Yeah, right.
But there's a kind of just a business 101 element there of not selling something for less than it costs you to make it, and no matter how much pressure the customer base puts on you, if you bow to that pressure and start selling something for less than it costs you to make it, you are not running a business anymore.
You're running a very short-term
your bank balance is going company closed.
It means there's a very limited elite group of people that can afford to run RPG companies because they just bankroll it themselves, and that means there's amazing stories and amazing games that won't be made because there are people that have the ability to make amazing games that can't afford to bankroll these things. So
it happens in other spheres as well, say counselling, which I happen to know about. You tend to have a lot of white women there, and part of the reason for that is because it's something that is a very flexible profession, fits in around, and you can have, to stereotype horribly, which I'm sure will get me reported to therapy today, you can have a rich husband, and that helps subsidise your costs.
Do I have a rich husband?
I'm afraid that ship may have sailed, Russ.
My wife might be upset if I did.
I mean, I don't know. That's a conversation for the two of you. She might be more interested to know.
And maybe not one to have publicly on this podcast.
I mean, if you find this giant bag of popcorn next time you come home, then I don't know, man.
But I mean, the summary of this conversation, I think, is why generally in my RPGs the villain is a large corporation or capitalism as a concept. Yeah. Which someone commented to me, they're like, Jess, do you notice that a lot of your games are like this? And I was like, I didn't, but now you said it, I absolutely see. But it's an obvious problem. Anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think in our industry, I think because it's a niche industry, I think it kind of lends itself a little more towards that. Maybe a much bigger industry, it's a lot harder to dominate. Like the movie industry, it's a lot harder for one studio to dominate the entire industry. You've got Instead, you've got 5 or 6.
Mhm.
Whereas in something as small as the RPG industry, like one company can do it.
Yeah,
So,
but even in movies, it's like we see a lot less diversity than we used to.
yeah,
There's like about 20 odd years ago, you could still have like little indie films, like stories, but now it's like there's a real
they still
dichotomy.
exist. Just nobody goes to see them. I think the
Well,
thing that's happened is the middle's been hollowed out. You don't get the mid-budget films anymore. So you get the blockbusters, you get the indie films that nobody goes to see and nobody's heard of. But they are out there. People are making them, but you don't get the middle
if
ones.
if you do not advertise a film or have it in your cinema for very long, it's very hard for people to see this film at a cinema. I will say.
Well, it's
Anyway.
chicken and egg, isn't it? No,
Yeah.
It's like this conversation where people were saying, why does Hollywood not make anything original anymore? And then the Oscar nominations came out, and there were like 10 original films being nominated for Best Picture, and their response was, "Oh, I've not seen any of those," and then criticised the Oscars for
being too niche,
like having these 10 pictures they hadn't seen. It's like, make your mind up that either they're not making original films, or they are making them. Clearly, there's 10. There's a list of 10 for you, and now your criticism is that you haven't seen them. So
it is a problem. There's a problem. So we should probably try and finish this off before we delve too deep into the woes of the world.
Yes, we've got more news to do, have we? What else have we got?
I see an article on Pathfinder and Starfinder.
An article on Pathfinder and Starfinder. Have we?
Lost Omens.
Oh yes. Okay. Sorry. Let me find a nice picture. If I can find it. Is that it? That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Sorry to people watching as I scroll through a tiny little thumbnail, peering at it, trying to work out which one is the correct picture.
It's worse for the podcast listeners.
Yeah.
This is why we need a producer to actually do this for us.
Yeah. Well, now we miss you so much. Okay. That looks interesting. We got I think that's a Pathfinder troll with like the big bifurcated horns going either side of its mouth. Looks like it's been chased by some sort of giant rock dragon, and there looks like some sort of red-capped mushroom with a sort of a skeletal face in the corner.
This is the Lost Omens Draconic Codex,
right?
Which is coming out in December
for Christmas.
Someone found a listing on it hasn't been announced, I don't think. Someone found a pre-order listing on Barnes and Noble.
Oh, not Amazon leaking it for a change.
Not Amazon. You notice we haven't seen that from Wizards of the Coast in ages, though. Like a couple of years since we last were like, oh, look, there's an Amazon leak of an upcoming D&D book. You notice that stopped. So they clearly nailed that down somehow.
They've improved their operational security, or they decided that looking like clowns as a way to get free publicity was not the way.
Do you know what part of it was, though? They used to only announce the next book after the previous one had come out, and now they're announcing the next year's worth of books ago. Maybe they did that to combat that. Because we know what's coming out for next year, don't we? So maybe that's
it's less of a leak then, isn't it? It's just we knew about that.
Control the information and release.
I think anyway, definitely spinning out a lot more books.
So anyway,
Draconic Codex.
So 20 tanks of dragons, including stat books for arch dragons, which serve as the equivalent to ancient dragons in the Pathfinder rule set.
I see.
December 2025. This sounds good. We've got background and lore for dragons, information on dragons' physiology, 9 draconic deities, ancestry and heritage options to play a draconic character of your own, draconic acts, lots of different character options. It's like a fun book. If you like dragons, it's like a fun book.
So you can play a dragon.
A draconic character, I guess.
Okay.
That could be a
dragon-like
thing.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Here we go. We got from expansions to the Dragon Blood and Kobold to the brand new Dragonette ancestry. Dragonette.
Hmm. Like a little dragon.
Like a wormling, is it? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I don't understand by dragonette. Like wormling
Okay.
is, I think, mostly a D&D thing. So yeah, dragonette would be the general fantasy term for a little dragon.
It sounds to me like a pastry, but that might just be because I haven't had lunch.
It sounds delicious.
Yeah, a little dragonette. You know, it's very like
Ooh.
fancy, and a pastry chef has had to make it somehow.
Oh, I can see that with afternoon tea. It's like you've got like little sandwiches. They got the dragonettes. Yeah, nice.
Exactly.
Nice. Tasty dragon.
Maybe I should have lunch.
Maybe.
Yeah. Peter, you have something on here about a central London venue.
In theory, I do. Yes. The link appears to have gone missing, but that's okay. Yes, there's I think it's called RPG Tavern. It's over in Borough in London, and it is entirely. It appears to be, as far as I can make out from the Financial Times article and their own website, a venue that's there for running D&D. I mean, it's quite near Borough Tube Station, so yeah, they're not kidding around when they say Central London. I don't have too much details about exactly how they're planning on doing it, or how they're planning to make money, but I can only assume they're probably charging for games, professional DMs. But beyond that,
or even hiring the space, I guess, if you want to hire a room for your weekly game.
Potentially, yeah, that is a possibility.
Is it kind of like a board game cafe, basically, but RPG focused? Is that?
I think that's what it sounds like. Yeah.
Well, they're saying you roll dice, we do the rest. So they're providing.
So they're running the games. Dice.
Yeah. Well, they'll provide the GMs, the models, paraphernalia, the things that you get going.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and they got like new player sessions and so forth. So they got tickets. I'll just grab some. Let's have a look. See if I can get you a price. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay, so they're running. Okay, so you can get a character creation session, which is just short of 4 hours for £15. And you can get a 6.5 hour session. Yeah, 3 hours 45 minutes to do character creation. And trust me, some people do need that. And you could get like an all day 6.5 hour session for £30. So yeah, I mean that is quite a bit of money, but not unfeasible.
I guess the rent of the space in London is why it needs to be that way.
I mean, I wouldn't like to try and have a business model based on this. So I think maybe these prices indicate that there's something that they are not paying. Hopefully, it's they own the property, which is always a possibility, which would reduce the amount they have to pay. So then they'd have to just pay rates rather than having to pay rent on the place as well. If they had to pay rent, then this would not last 5 minutes. But they're opening, and as I say, they got a shout out in the Financial Times, which is, I suppose, something you should add to your list of RPG news covering outlets for us.
There we go, Financial Times.
Yeah.
Well, good luck to them. I love a physical venue that does gaming stuff, having had a board game cafe.
Yeah.
Which is no longer open. We did RPGs there, but we only charged I think it was like £4 or £5 a session.
Yeah.
But maybe that's why we're now closed. Anyway.
I noticed there's some in publishing news. Exciting.
We do have. Look at that. That is the first issue of the all-new relaunched Insider magazine.
Oh, exciting.
Yes.
Yeah. So Insider's been around for 10 years.
Yes.
God, 10 years. Wow. I don't know how that happened. So we've been publishing Insider for 10 years, got over 600 issues over those 10 years. But with the new 2024 rules coming in, this is it's D&D articles and adventures Insider, sorry. And the S is a 5, just because you can. N5 Ida.
the N5 Ida, as I like to
Yes,
say.
inside.
Sounds very annoying.
What was I saying? I've lost track of where I was now.
You were telling us that N5 Ida is, I'm surmising, the 2024 version of Insider magazine.
We got that, and also there was a move on Patreon that you had to move to monthly, because we used to pay, people used to be able to pay per article.
Yes.
Per item. And like Patreon about a year ago said that, you're going to have to switch over to put monthly pay rather than per article. So we had a year's warning. We've been setting this up for the last year. So basically we've relaunched now. So Insider Magazine is now a monthly magazine, print as well, and PDF. And you can subscribe monthly. The first issue is now out. It's all about folk heroes.
Oh, exciting.
And in fact, I have it right here. Switches to look at that.
Yes. We now switched from the graphic showing Insider Magazine to Russ holding it up to the camera, which is a lot blurrier. It's quite a cool graphic. Getting like a little flip through.
It's quite hard to actually hold it open upside down backwards.
Yes.
I know what I'm doing. There we go. Anyway.
Anyway,
that's
it's a magazine full of D&D stuff. Very exciting.
Monthly magazine. Sorry.
Will people be able to pick it up at UK Games Expo?
No.
No, because the way you can get it is by being a member. The link I've just put in the show notes, but basically there's a £10 a month where you get the digital, 20 if you, this is dollars even, sorry, if you want to have the physical copy and have a print on demand coupon so you can go, sort that out yourself. Or for $25, I'll do it for you. So you just pay $25 each month and it'll just appear on your door. So just give me your address, sign up. And I did that for the first issue people this week. So they have had it sent to them. So I will go and send it to your address. So you don't need to fiddle around with your coupons and things. So if you do miss flicking through a magazine, reading about things, then you can subscribe to the Champion tier.
Yeah. And they'll be every single month.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just doing the same thing we're always doing and that we've been doing for 10 years. It's just that the format has changed. It's been compiled into a visual. And you can get it physically now rather than just in digital format.
Can there be a tier where Rush shows it off like he did every month? Sure. I'm sure we can get an extra tier. Just let us know what price and we'll put it on there.
It shows it off. What? I just like to do this every month. So
just showcase it. And flick through it, obviously. Come on, Russ.
I don't know how much that's worth, but let us know. And sure.
$100.
These are hard times. RPG publishers will do it.
Yeah.
Publisher Ian Weld, publishing director, goes live on camera in exchange for money every month to show off the goods.
Yeah.
Look, that's where we are right now.
I've got an to pitch the rascal.
That's where we are. That's where we are with Tarriffs right now.
Yeah. I joke, but yikes.
Yeah. So, and then we've had a question about the Compendium as well.
You know what I saw yesterday, or was it this week? Earlier this week, I saw the manuscript.
Yeah, me too.
It was a thing of beauty. Paul Hughes is heading that one up, who did Monstrous Menagerie 1 and 2, is got the website Blog of Holding, is one of the big monster experts, I think, in this industry for 5e monster experts. Handed in the manuscript this week, and I was looking through it and going, "Oh, this is lovely. I like this." And I've seen some of the art coming in as well, and some of that's gorgeous, and I can't wait for this one. Although there's been a change in name. It's not Compendium anymore. Jesse's looking surprised because you were on holiday when that happened.
We haven't had this discussion.
I understand.
Yes, it's now Pets and Sidekicks. It's what it's now called.
We should probably change that on all the marketing then.
Yeah.
We should tell people that we've changed the name of the product. Shout. That's
Because on the Kickstarter link, it is still called that.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I was talking it over with Paul, and we both agreed that Companions Compendium, just while we like the alliteration, just wasn't a strong enough name.
No,
it wasn't clear enough what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
So what was the name? What's the new name again?
And sidekicks is what we're going with.
Which I've actually
with like trials and treasures, pets and sidekicks. It's kind of that format.
Nice.
But yeah, that will be coming in the summer. But the link for the pre-launch page is up. So if you want to be notified when it goes live, just
there'll be previews of that coming soon now, because now we've got the manuscript. We'll be starting to put blog items on the Level Up website and stuff. So can't wait.
There we go.
Lovely.
All right. What other news do we have?
I think we're pretty much done, aren't we?
That sound of scraping wood you heard was us hitting the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
But we are a good 90 minutes into UK Games Expo.
Yep. We'll be at UK in like 4 weeks now, isn't it? Less than 4 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
4
1,
weeks.
2, 3,
How many weeks?
4 weeks.
4 weeks. We'll be at UK Games Expo.
Yeah.
And we will be recording the podcast live on May the 30th at 2 p.m. at UK Games Expo. You can come and join us.
In the dice room.
You can bring a sandwich. You can sit there and watch us fumble our way through the show.
Yes. And
yeah,
so we do a live recording there. So that week there won't be a live recording on the internet because it will be an in-person one, but the podcast will go up afterwards.
Yes, yeah. I don't think we're technologically competent enough to actually stream the live recording event in any manner that you'd want to watch.
No, I mean, I could do it, but it would be awful. It would just be a close-up of all of our faces.
Oh, yeah, I could prop my iPhone up and stream it on that, but I don't think anyone wants to see that.
I don't think it would be a good viewing experience.
No.
So instead, just come to the UK Games Expo and do that.
Yeah, come to the UK Games Expo.
Because that's easy for everybody, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's local to everyone.
Yes. Yeah. I'm looking forward to UK Games Expo. I can't wait. I really enjoy it. It's hard work, though.
Yes, it is.
It's like the 4 days of the year that I am at my most tired, I find.
It's because there's lots of people around and we're not in our homes surrounded by dogs.
It's because I have to stay like switched on all day. That's why.
Being nice to people.
Yes, talking to people all day.
That's with some people, that's a really hard thing to do.
Yeah, it is for me, definitely. But, in the evening, I get to go out and eat nice food and have nice drinks with my friends, which I also really, really like.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway.
Let's knock this on the head and go and enjoy a weekend.
Yes,
let's go do a weekend.
I hope everyone enjoyed the show.
Yes.
It will be up on the podcast stream imminently within the next hour or so. And we're going to go. It's lovely sunny weather. We're going to go out and enjoy our weekends.
Huzzah!
All right. Goodbye, everyone. Have a lovely weekend. See you next week. Same time, same place.
Bye-bye.
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 All the tabletop role-playing news. We aim to amuse and we aim to enthuse. And Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG.